You can feel it before you can name it. The room is quiet, yet the air is tight, like a seatbelt pulled one click too far. This is the hidden tug-of-war between stress and relationships, and it can pull two people apart without a single raised voice. If you've noticed tension sneaking into your evenings, you're not alone. Think about a typical weekday in the US. There's the morning commute past the corner coffee shop, the pings from your phone piling up like snow, and the fridge note about the school event you forgot to RSVP to. By the time dinner hits the table, you're already carrying a full backpack of unseen weight. Research shows that when that weight goes unspoken, small misunderstandings start to sound like alarms. On the surface, everything looks fine. You're setting plates on the counter, making plans for tomorrow, cleaning up a spill before it soaks into the wood grain. Inside, though, stress pushes you into protection mode. You might speak faster, hear less, and assume the worst because your nervous system is trying to keep you safe. Here at Whispered Hearts. English, we walk through hard moments with the same calm you wish your day offered you. We slow the pace, we breathe between words, and we remember something vital. Love is not just a feeling, it's a practice. And like any practice, it bends under pressure, unless we tend to it with steady hands. But there's a quiet shift most couples miss when stress moves in. It doesn't always shout, it often rearranges the furniture of your behavior. You start to avoid long conversations because the shorter ones feel safer. You trade curiosity for certainty, just to stop the day from spilling over. Stress rewires communication in subtle ways. You might answer a simple question with a clipped tone, or hear a neutral comment as criticism, because your body is bracing for impact. It's not that you've turned against each other. It's that your bodies are trying to help, badly and loudly, using old alarms for new problems. Here's a sign worth noticing. When you're stressed, your attention narrows to the threat and away from the person you love. You scan for what could go wrong and miss what's going right, like the way they warmed up your coffee or took out the trash without mentioning it. Have you seen this pattern show up in your home? If you have, you're already doing one crucial thing. You're seeing it. Naming a pattern is the hinge that lets the door swing. When you say, "I'm tense, and I'm hearing you through that tension," you shift from blame to teamwork. What would change tonight if you said that out loud? But there's something even quieter holding love together when the pressure rises. It's the way you co-regulate, a simple term for lending each other your calm. Co-regulation happens when one person slows their breathing, softens their tone, and the other person's body takes the hint like a hand finding a railing. You don't fix the problem in that moment. You fix the conditions that make fixing possible. Picture this on a humid July evening after a long day. You step onto the porch, cicadas humming, and sit close enough to feel the warmth of a shoulder, but not so close that anyone feels trapped. You each take 10 slow breaths while looking at the same tree across the street. It's not therapy, it's attention, and attention is the oxygen of connection. Micro moments like these are not small. They're stitches holding the fabric together so it doesn't tear when you tug it. A hand on the back as you pass in the kitchen. A glance that says, "I'm with you," when the toddler throws spaghetti. A 2-sentence check-in during lunch that keeps the afternoon from derailing. Which tiny gesture could you bring back tonight? There's a question almost every stressed couple asks at some point. Are we fighting about the dishes? Or are we fighting about feeling alone with too much? The answer changes the whole scene. If it's about the dishes, you can divide tasks. If it's about loneliness, You need comfort more than choreography. Imagine you come home late to a sink full of pans. Your partner says, "You left me with everything again," and you feel that familiar urge to list all you've done. Stop there. Place one palm on the counter to ground yourself. Say, "I hear you. You felt alone with all of this. I don't want you to feel that." What would it feel like to try that line, even once? But there's a deeper layer that protects your relationship under repeated stress. It's something I call a resilience rhythm, the way you move together when life gets loud. A resilience rhythm includes how you detect stress early, how you pause, how you repair, and how you return to closeness. Each part is small, but together they're a blueprint. Start with detection. Many couples don't notice stress until it's already shaped the conversation. Choose 2 or 3 personal tells and share them. Maybe your shoulders ride up toward your ears, or you give yes/no answers, or you pace without realizing. When you say, "My shoulders are up, I'm in stress mode," you're giving your partner a clear map. What are your tells, and how would your partner know? Next comes the pause. This is not avoidance. It's a short time out with a promise to return. You might say, "I want to talk about this well, and I can feel I won't. I need 10 minutes to reset, and then I'm all yours." Set a timer. Get water. Step outside into the crisp winter air and feel the cold settle you. Then come back, exactly when you said you would. Then there's the repair. Every couple has ruptures under pressure, and the healthiest couples repair them early and often. A good repair sounds like this. "I got sharp and cut you off. That's on me. The impact on you matters. I'm here now. Can we try again?" No excuses, no lecture, just ownership and an invitation. Have you practiced a repair script you can reach for in the moment? But there's a habit more powerful than any individual technique. It's not dramatic, and that's why it gets overlooked. It's the weekly reset, a short meeting that nourishes the relationship the way meal prep nourishes the week. 15 to 30 minutes on a Sunday afternoon or a quiet weeknight. Just the 2 of you with calendars open and heart rates down. The weekly reset is where logistics and love meet. You look at the week ahead, name the heavy moments, and plan small supports. If Wednesday is a marathon, you schedule a 10-minute call at 4 p.m. If money talks are stressful, you set a specific time for them and a soothing ritual afterward, like a walk around the block under the streetlights. If you've never tried a weekly reset, when would you start? Inside that reset, you can build what I call the traffic light plan. Green means prevention. You're fine, and you do your rituals. Yellow means caution. You notice tells, slow down your speech, and choose simpler topics. Red means pause. You stop the argument and protect the bond first. What would your yellow look like tomorrow? But there's a tender truth every couple needs to hear. Stress will make you believe that speed is your friend. Speed promises the quick finish, the last word, the solved problem. In love, speed is often the enemy. Slowness lets you hear the sentence behind the sentence. Slowness is how you choose the relationship over the reaction. Communication under stress improves when you say less and mean it more. Use shorter sentences, make one point at a time, and tell your partner the goal. Try this. My goal is to understand and not win. I'm going to speak slowly. Your body will want to sprint. Let your words decide to walk. How would your next hard conversation change if you stated your goal up front? Coordinating action also matters. When the day is heavy, trade playbooks. One person cooks, the other cleans. One person handles the bedtime routine, the other preps lunches. Call it out as teamwork so your brains catch on. I'll take dinner, you take baths, we meet on the couch in 20. When you name the plan, you borrow confidence from it. But there's a piece couples often skip when stress rises: joy. Not extravagant, not expensive, just the daily spark that tells your nervous systems we're safe enough to play. It might be 5 minutes of inside jokes while washing grapes, a shared playlist on the commute, or a note tucked into a coat pocket that says, "I see how hard you're trying." Where could you place one small joy in tomorrow's routine? Of course, there will be days when you miss each other completely. You'll say the thing you didn't mean, or hear the thing they didn't mean, and the gap will feel wide. This is where a simple 3-step repair can save hours of distance. Name what happened. Name the impact. Name your care. It sounds like this. I dismissed your concern. That hurt and made you feel alone with the problem. You matter to me, so I want to repair this now. Then back it up with action. The glass of water delivered without words, the phone put face down, the chair pulled closer. What's one repair line you could memorize together? But there's one more anchor that holds couples through sustained pressure. It's the shared story of who you are when life is hard. You can write it in a sentence and repeat it when everything feels loud. We are a team that slows down, breathes together, and solves one small thing at a time. That story changes how you fight and how you forgive. It keeps the argument in the same room as compassion. It reminds you that love is not an outcome, but a way of moving. If your story right now sounds like, "We fight and freeze," what sentence could you write instead? In the middle of all this practice, you may need a mid-roll reminder of why we're here together. Whispered Hearts. English exists so you have a place where calm is contagious and hope is practical. If you feel overwhelmed by the noise of the week, let this be a small porch light, a signal that you belong in a community, learning the same steady skills. Money, parenting, caretaking, illness, job shifts. These are heavy topics under any sky. When you bring them into the relationship with care, the weight changes shape. You set times, you choose gentle language, you decide together when to close the laptop. Courage grows when the plan is visible. Where could you make one plan visible on your fridge or calendar today? But there's a final puzzle piece many couples overlook. Boundaries that protect the bond, not punish the person. A boundary can be the decision not to debate important topics after 9 p.m., or to pause a heated talk if either of you hasn't eaten. A boundary can be no phones during the first 10 minutes after you walk through the door, so your eyes can arrive before your words do. Boundaries like these are not rules for control, they're rails for safety, and safety invites the best version of both of you to show up. If you set one boundary this week, make it about timing and tenderness. Decide when you'll talk, where you'll sit, and how you'll slow down when voices rise. Which boundary would bring the most peace to your evenings? The body remembers what the mind forgets, so pair your words with grounding actions. Wash your hands in warm water before a tough conversation, and notice the feeling. Step onto the balcony and listen for distant traffic, a siren, a dog bark, anything that reminds you there's a world beyond the problem. Start a sentence with, "I want to be close, even while we're stressed." How would that line change the next 5 minutes? But there's something even kinder at the center of all of this. Gratitude that is specific and current. Not a grand speech, just a moment of, Thank you for staying in this with me, said while you pass the salt or fold the towels. Specific gratitude keeps the nervous system from mistaking effort for emptiness. On a breezy spring afternoon, take your coffee to the stoop and share a tiny victory from the week. Maybe you both paused for 5 breaths in the car before coming inside. Maybe you named a yellow light moment and avoided a red light blow-up. Celebrate it out loud so your bodies learn what success feels like. What's one victory you can say out loud tonight? There will be evenings when exhaustion wins. On those nights, move toward the simplest form of connection, proximity without pressure. Sit on the same couch and read separate books. Watch a show with your feet touching under the blanket. Whisper, "We're okay, and tomorrow we'll talk." Sometimes the bravest choice is to rest the conversation until you can carry it. If you find yourself in a loop you can't break, simplify the question. Are we protecting the problem or protecting the bond? Let the answer guide your next sentence. If you're protecting the bond, you can say, "I'll take a breath and try again." If you're protecting the problem, you can say, "Let's pause and come back with kinder words." But there's a soft promise I want you to hold. Stress is not a verdict on your love. It's weather, and weather changes. Some days bring the dry heat of too many tasks, others the heavy clouds of tough news, and some bring the cool clarity that makes everything feel possible again. You can build your shelter together, a little stronger with every season. As you do, remember the small things that protect you: the weekly reset, the traffic light plan, the breath you take before you speak, the hand you place on a shoulder that says, "I'm not going anywhere." How do you and your partner handle stress when it tries to close the distance? Here's your final encouragement before we close. You don't need perfect words to diffuse the tension. You need honest ones, spoken slowly, wrapped in a tone that says, "We're on the same side." Even when the day is heavy and the pace is relentless, you can return to softness with something as simple as, "I care about you more than I care about being right." If this episode steadied your breathing even a little, let that be proof that calm can be shared. Let it be proof that attention changes the room. Let it be proof that your relationship can carry weight without breaking, because you are learning to carry it together. Whispered Hearts. English is here for these practices, day by day, breath by breath. We began with the tug-of-war between stress and relationships, and we end with the hands that choose each other over the rope. Stress will visit, it always does. But with simple rituals, gentler words, and a plan you both trust, you can protect what matters most. Tonight, try one small act of care, and let the room remember how it feels when love exhales